The domain of trigonometric function y is equal to sin x is the set of all real numbers or as we can plug in any angle without a restriction. However, its range is closed interval minus 1, 1 as the value of sin x toggles strictly between the numbers minus 1 and 1 and never goes beyond minus 1 and 1. The range of its inverse sin inverse x is closed interval minus pi by 2, but not r, the domain of sin x. Why? Look at the reality. Sine pi by 6 is equal to 1 by 2. Sine of pi minus pi by 6 is equal to sine 5 pi by 6 is equal to 1 by 2. Sine of 2 pi plus pi by 6, that is sine of 13 pi by 6 is equal to 1 by 2, etc. So infinitely many angles have the exact same sine value. But a true inverse function must assign exactly one unique output to every input. Multiple answers are not allowed. So, in order to understand the details about y is equal to sine inverse x, such as range, the domain of the sine function is restricted to the closed interval minus pi by 2, where the function is strictly increasing and it is 1 to 1. Within this principal interval, every value between minus 1 and 1 is produced exactly once, not more than 1. The domain of the sine function spanning all real numbers is consciously restricted to closed interval minus pi by 2 to allow the birth of its inverse, that is sin inverse x, whose range mirrors this exact restriction. In pure mathematics, the unrestricted sine function is a map of infinite repetition flowing endlessly across the open interval minus infinity, infinity. In other words, the set of all real numbers are. However, this boundless freedom creates an existential crisis for its inverse. As a function is not one to one, a true inverse cannot naturally exist. To resolve this, mathematicians enforce a strict boundary isolating a single principal branch. The range of sin inverse x is not a reflection of the original function's total capacity, but rather a reflection of the discipline required to make mapping backward possible. Let us think philosophically. To establish a meaningful reciprocal relationship, there must be a voluntary surrender of the infinite. The restriction of the domain is a form of focused intent. It reminds us that in both mathematics and life, redefining our boundaries and accepting limitations is often the very thing that gives us definition, clarity, and the ability to find our way back to our originality.